Did I really say 1.2 million IHG points? Absolutely. That's how many points that we are spending this first part of the year here in Southeast Asia to stay in luxury properties with all the amenities. And because we, put ourselves through the effort of staying in some lesser properties last year, we earned our lounge access, which is a huge benefit, especially for those of us who are on a budget. Now, we've talked about that in the Live in La Vida Lounge video that we put out last week. If you get a chance to go back and look at that, that will explain to you why loyalty and status is so important and some of the huge benefits that are hiding in there that you really don't think about. But essentially, free food is the big thing about that one. So with that and with the status we've earned, we're focusing our stays this year in higher end properties with lounges so we can take advantage of that free food and keep our costs down. And using points obviously makes sense because you get the flexibility to cancel and change plans without having to worry about cancellation fees or losing your deposits or anything like that. Now, one thing I will show you at the end of this is we are doing all of this and getting all these benefits, and effectively our room is costing us about $30 a night because of the way we are leveraging both the credit card for the fourth night free, using points, buying points, and also taking advantage of the lounge access. So, as I said, we're spending the first part of this year in Southeast Asia here in Vietnam. We're moving on to Japan for the cherry blossom seasons. And we are staying in these beautiful hotels with all the amenities, taking advantage of working out in really nice gyms. And we don't have to pay for a gym membership somewhere or, find other ways to work out in the hotel rooms like we used to do. And we have, nice pools and saunas and spas and all these extras within these nicer hotels. And if for those of you who budget travel and you're staying in some places that you kind of go, well, it's a bed and it's clean, this is more than one step up. This is several steps up. Now we are staying in some smaller cities and just to take advantage of some less expensive areas, but still, we're not suffering staying in a place like Da Nang. It's a wonderful place. It should be on your list. So first, how did we get 1.2 million points that we were able to now spend in this year alone? Well, we bought them. That's the beauty of IHG. You can buy points up to their limit. And if you time it right, you can amass quite a few points. Now, I do not ever want you to hoard points, to buy a bunch and just save them, because you can't guarantee that they're going to be worth what you paid for them later. So if you have a goal in mind, if you have plans you're making within the next year, you can buy the points and spend them to book those nights, and you can cancel up to the day before you're supposed to be there. So it doesn't hurt you to book something out 10 months and then discover you're not going on that trip and cancel it. So we purchased 300,000 points at the buy one, get one free, the 100% bonus sale at the in December, last year. And that got us a 300,000 point bonus. So that's 600,000 points that we purchased for $3,000. We did that again the beginning of this year because it's by calendar year as they limit you. So we were able to buy 200,000 more points at the beginning of the year, plus the 200,000 bonus for a couple $1,000s. So, and then we earned and got points for some other things. And so in the total, in the sum, for this example, we have 1.2 million points we are spending in the first part of this year. Now, to make the math easy, I'm just going to say we bought them all. I know somebody's going to point out that we can't buy that many, but just because some of the points we got for free and everything else would make the math a little bit tougher, I'd rather make it simple. So at a half a penny a point, the buy one, get one free, they sell them for a penny, you get a matching bonus of it. Therefore, it's a half a penny per point. 1.2 million points cost us that $6,000. That's a lot, but what do we get? Well, we are spending exactly 100 nights using those points in IHG hotels in Vietnam and Japan. And we're in a beautiful beach town here. We're doing another beach resort town in Vietnam before we go up to places, much nicer places than go to head Japan. Actually, I shouldn't say much nicer. They're all really nice places. Vietnam is an amazing country. So 100 nights, which is 3 1/3 months in upscale hotels in these wonderful locations. We are not in the boonies at all. So simple math, 1.2 million points, 100 nights is 12,000 points a night. half a penny a point means those 12,000 points cost us $60. So staying in these really nice hotels is costing us $60 a night. I consider that a pretty darn good value. Could we be staying in a cheaper apartment or other hotels here? Absolutely. There are tons of videos out there talking about, real estate and apartment costs and hotel costs here in this area where you could be less. But again, for the other parts of life, all the other amenities, perks, and the lounge that we get from staying in these hotels, really, it knocks down the other costs in the month to a point where we're still spending the same amount of money we would staying in one of these other apartments. And I would hazard to guess that this is a much nicer place to stay with all that hotel living. So it only works in certain parts of the world. This is one of them. That's why I wanted to show you this. Anyway, so what hotels are we staying at? As I said, Vietnam, we're here in Da Nang, which is in the center of the country and at the center of the coast. Beautiful beach, like really nice town, all the amenities you want in a fairly major city. Airport's really close. We're going to moving down to a resort town called Nha Trang in the south, where we're just really hitting a warm beach time. We kind of, it's been that transition time here, so the weather hasn't been great for the beach. So we're going to go down and spend some time in a place that it's 10 degrees warmer Fahrenheit, and really try to get our color back on our skin. Then we're going to be heading up to northern Vietnam, Hanoi, Vinh An, before we fly on to Japan for the cherry blossom season. Now in Japan, we are staying in some of the best towns, except Tokyo, because Tokyo is way too expensive with points. We are going to Tokyo, but we're staying completely separately, and we'll talk about that in another video. Point stays, we're staying in Kobe, Osaka, Hiroshima, Okinawa, Kanazawa, Fukuoka. Forgive me for mispronunciation. I'm doing the best I can. But those are just some of the places we're staying in this time period. And the points we're using are covering the room, all the amenities within the hotel, getting the room clean, getting fresh towels, all those things. Plus, almost every one of those hotels has a lounge. So that's most of our food budget too. And that's really what makes this affordable. Now, some of those hotels are 15, 18, 20,000 a night, and some of them are much less. So that's why I said we're able to average 12,000 by picking the exact right timing and dates. And we just spend a little bit of money on things like train tickets and stuff to move around. But, that's why we spent nearly 2 months in Da Nang, is to keep our travel costs down. So what's the value we are getting? Now, remember, we spent $6,000 to buy 1.2 million points in this example. And that's pretty close to it. Like I said, I'm just making the math easy. That's $1,800 a month because we're 3 1/3 months. So $1,800 a month for housing and most of my food is pretty darn good. Plus all those extra amenities. I don't have to get a gym membership or anything like that. So if we paid cash, that's really what we have to compare it against. A basic room in these hotels would get us, on average, about 120. Here in Vietnam, it's more like 75 to 100, maybe a little bit more in during like the Lunar New Year that just happened, which was a lot of fun to be here for. And in Japan, it's much higher. I mean, there's a lot of places we're going that are $150, $200 a night. So we feel like if we use that number, the 100 nights is $12,000 worth of value. So we paid $6,000 to buy the points, and we're getting $12,000 worth of value. Okay, that's perfectly reasonable. Two times the money we spent. That's good. But again, because we have the status and the lounge access, we are getting upgraded almost every time into a nicer room. So we're getting a little bit better room, sometimes a suite, and we get the lounge access. Again, free breakfast, full breakfast buffets, and we can eat in the restaurant or we can eat up in the lounge, and we can order all these different types of dishes, both local and Western. So we can get our eggs and bacon when we want, and we can eat, a local meal if we want, all for free. And we get our coffees and our juices and for me, my soda, my caffeine comes from soda, not coffee. Smoothies during the day, hors d'oeuvres in the evening, glass of wine, all that stuff is included. So that's where the math works. And that's why I point you back to the video about Live in La Vida Lounge. So when we look at that kind of rate, if you look it up under the cash rates, a lounge access room, special lounge access suite, you're in the 150, 200 and up. And in Japan, there's several of them are $300 a night. And again, we're still paying the same amount on average across that. So now we're talking probably $20,000 worth of hotel rooms for those 100 nights. And now we're well over 3 times the value we spent in cash. That's great. So back to why did I say the effective room rate was $30? That goes back to the lounge access and the food. And quickly, we've spent some time in apartments here. We spent some time, slow traveling the world, staying in Airbnbs. We've stayed in other hotels that don't include food. And what we've discovered is, depending on how many times we need to eat out, we're spending 20, 30, 40, in Japan, $50, $60 a day in food. But in a lounge hotel, we probably are cutting that down under $10 a day. We're really just for some snacks during the day. Once or twice a week, we'll have a big meal at lunch and, have Indian, have a burger, have pizza, have something we just, kind of feel like you get a craving in the middle of the day when you're walking around. And so for those days, we're averaging maybe $10 a day per week. You compare that to the $40, $50, $60 or $30, $40, $50, $60. So we're just averaging across all those numbers saying we're saving about $25, $30, maybe more than that per day in food costs. And I have a spreadsheet. I track all this stuff. So, we're paying the $60 a day for the room with all those amenities in there. And we're not having to spend the $25, $30, $40 a day in food. Well, if we just average it at $30 that we're saving in food costs, 60 minus 30 means the room is costing us $30 a day. I don't know about you. I consider that a steal to be in a fairly luxurious apartment, hotel suite in a beautiful hotel with all those amenities. I'm not going to mention the food again because I've just counted that food. So $30 a day for a nice room with a gym, with service, with cleaning, all that. I dare you to try to find, even here in Da Nang, a place that has all of that meets the quality level. So is it possible? Absolutely. Could you do this on a 2 or 3 or 4 week vacation? Absolutely. The math works the same. The only difference is if you do not have the status, you may not get the upgrade. You'd have to pay for the lounge. And at that point, you're basically not saving the food costs. So if you can get yourself to that status level of lounge access, these are the kind of benefits you can get out of using points. And with IHG especially, buying points can allow you to stay so much longer. I mean, again, 3+ months in luxurious hotels for what we would spend for apartments or lesser hotels. Hopefully you enjoyed it. By the way, I'm Peter. This is Channels Retire Everywhere. This is my little set of videos I'm doing to try to explain points to people. The next one will not be about IHG, folks, so you can worry less. I'm actually going to go back in time on some of the other things we've done and talk about it. If you have specific questions on how to use points, how to earn points, how to burn points, please ask. It might give me a great idea to do a separate video on it, or just maybe do a question and answer. But I do have some other topics I will be coming out with soon, plus all of the other videos that Elaine and I are making about retirement and strategies and travel and the hotels we stay in, the trains we take, the flights we take. All that is coming. We're still new and learning at this, so be patient. Anyway, appreciate it. Happy travels. Take care.